I'll call to order the regular board meeting of the Board of Library Trustees of the Batavia Public Library District for Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. Mary Ann, would you call the roll?
Sure. Colada? Here. Deachman?
Here.
Ford? Hubbard? Larson?
Here.
Russo?
Here.
Fasano? Here.
And number 2 on the agenda is the pledge. And I'll lead us in the pledge tonight. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, number 4 on our agenda is comments from the audience. Would anyone here or anyone online like to speak to the board? Okay, with no one wanting to speak to the board, I'll move on to number 5. And would someone like to make a motion to approve or amend the agenda?
I move to approve today's agenda as written.
I will second that motion.
Okay, a motion by Trustee Larson and a second by Trustee Fasano. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the agenda is approved. Item number 6 is the approval of the consent agenda. And the consent agenda consists of the following 5 items. The special board meeting minutes for November 21st, 2023. The regular board meeting minutes for November 21st, 2023. The special board meeting minutes for December 12th, 2023. The financial reports for November 2023. And the financials for December 2023. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
And a second?
I'll second that.
A motion by Trustee Fasano and a second by Trustee Colada. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Actually, move to approve because it's
Go for the consent.
Mary Ann, would you do a roll call?
yes.
Give her a moment.
Colada?
Aye.
Deachman?
Aye.
Ford? Hubbard? Larson?
Aye.
Russo?
Aye.
Fasano? Aye.
And the consent agenda is approved. Okay, number 7, the approval of the collection management policy and request for reconsideration of materials form.
Okay, so on page 41 is the final draft of our new collection management policy with the additions we discussed at the COW meeting in red. I believe it was Mary Ann who wanted to know how are people going to be able to view the items that are mentioned in the first paragraph, Library Bill of Rights, freedom to read, freedom to view, etc. So on our digital version of the policy, we will have direct links to those documents. But the print versions, like each service desk will have our policies, we will print out all of those items so that if we're in person talking with somebody, we can share it with them that way. But for the most part, they can access them online. And so we added the little bit about following the recommendations of serving our public, standards for Illinois public libraries. The library will strive to allocate not less than 12% of its operating budget on materials for patrons every year. And just a little word change, lower down under scope, we removed develops and replaced it with has. Then on page 42, there weren't really any changes. And then on the final page, adding, just flushing out the board to be Board of Trustees. And a few changes to the procedures for submitting a request for reconsideration. Submit the form to the attention of the executive director. The executive director will acknowledge receipt of the request and review and meet with the appropriate staff to discuss the request. Number 4, the executive director will respond in writing with their decision in a timely manner. And then again, just fleshing out library board of trustees instead of just library board. One thing I want to just remind everyone that with the new state law about banning books, that if we have to be careful if we get a request for reconsideration, we have to keep that new law in mind, because if you remove something from your collection for a reason that would qualify as banning a book, not like if something is, this is not the most updated edition or version, that's not the same, but we just have to keep that in mind, that we will not get per capita grant funding if we were to remove a book from our collection because of, someone wants to ban it from the library. Just reminding everybody about that. Okay, so then the form follows, and there weren't any changes to the form, so that's it.
Is there any reason, or is there a good reason, to have a link to that state law at the same place where it links to these other?
I'm not sure.
I don't.
I'm on the fence about that, because I
Okay.
also thought about that.
Does it engender more questions?
Well, I mean, we certainly don't want the focal point of our policy and our form to be about the potential of a band or a book that's being challenged for reasons,
Yeah.
that we can't support. So I just want to keep it as, this is it, and then if it goes to the point where someone fills out this form and is continually challenging, then I would bring it into the conversation.
Good enough.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? We did discuss it 2 weeks ago at the COW meeting in much greater detail. And if the public wants to find it, there's a link on the homepage for it.
The new policy will be on our website in the About section under policies, and we'll have that up probably tomorrow once it's approved. And then every service desk will have this updated policy, and all the staff, we have these binders that have all of our policies in them. Those get updated whenever a new policy is approved, so the staff will be aware of it, and then we'll have it available for the public.
I said last time, it's just really nicely streamlined and presented and looks good.
Thank you.
So I will make the motion to approve the collection management policy.
I will second that.
Second. So a motion by trustee Russo and a second by trustee Deachman. Any further discussion? Then all in favor of accepting the policy, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and it's approved.
Thank you.
Number 8, approve the lease amending agreement with Flyleaf Cafe.
So at the COW meeting, one of the owners of Flyleaf, Connie, came to the meeting and asked, well, they had wanted to cut their hours down by 15 a week, closing earlier during the week and also being closed on both weekend days. So I informed that we informed them that they can't do that without board approval, because the board is on their lease, and it states in the lease that they have to have approval from the board to change hours, to close, to do any of those things. So that had not been the case when they reduced their hours the first time, but we are making sure we follow the lease now. So she came, talked about lack of business on evening hours and on weekends. She provided us with some data about sales. The board talked about it, and I think we pretty much kind of agreed that shortening the hours during the week was okay, but we still wanted the cafe to be open at least for part of the weekend. So we proposed 9 to 1 on Saturdays that they would remain open. So that's kind of, that's how we made a sort of counter proposal to what they were proposing. I gave her, Colleen, a copy of this lease amending agreement. I went over the section under amendments, those three things. So here's how we're amending the lease. We are saying that they can shorten their hours of operation to Monday through Friday from 9 to 4:30, and then Saturdays 9 to 1. That's the biggest change. Then we also included that the tenant and landlord agree to review the cafe's hours of operation annually, starting in May of 2024, and then again in May of 2025, with the possibility of increasing their hours again to, maybe a few evenings and longer on the weekends. Excuse me. And then the third part of the amendment is Flyleaf will not close for any additional amount of time without prior approval from the library board, except in cases of illness or emergency. Requests to close the cafe must be submitted in writing to the library director no less than 60 days before the intended dates of closure. So recently the cafe had closed for 2 weeks, not together, but at separate times, without having that prior acknowledgement or approval from the board. So I wanted to put this language in the lease so that was very clear that we're not saying that they can't close so that they can have a break, because everyone needs a break, but that they give us ample warning and not just, close suddenly or without approval, without the board's knowledge. So 60 days allows me to put it, we can talk about it at a COW meeting, we can put it on an agenda, you can formally approve it at a regular board meeting, et cetera, so.
An emergency would include like, the snowstorm and stuff like that when the library closes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That
well,
would
it's
fall under
already
that.
in the lease.
Okay.
It talks about like inclement weather, we have to
Okay.
close for an emergency or something like that. This is when they choose to close, but the library's still open.
Got it.
And they were okay with the amendments?
Well, I told her that the board was going to be voting on this agreement, this amendment, and if they had any questions or anything, they could come and ask the board. And so they have not come, so I assume that they're okay with it, or that they plan
They have no
to.
question.
I mean, this will go into effect as early as this week.
They had also said in their last week or 2 weeks ago when they were here that they would stay open if there were special events at the library, or
Yeah.
if there's meetings that they need to be catered, they would still be able to do those in the evening.
And that's in the current lease.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Would someone like to make a motion to approve the amended lease?
I'll make that motion.
A motion by trustee Deitchman and a second
Second.
by trustee Fasano. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and the lease amendment is approved. Number 9, approve hiring Lauterbach and Amann for the FY24 audit.
So as we discussed at the COW meeting, we need to set someone up to do our audit for fiscal year '24. We're already halfway through. So Lauterbach and Amann prepared a proposal to do 1 year of our fiscal year '24 audit for the amount, where is it stated? It's like 7,600, right, on page 52 of your packet. And they also did a proposal for a 3-year contract where the rate was a little bit lower, but not significant, just a couple $100. So the board discussed what they'd like to do is they'll stick with Lauterbach and Amann for fiscal year '24, but then go out to bid after that.
They're looking at me, I wasn't at the cow.
Jenny, last week I said that I remembered you saying that we should go to bid
No,
a year ago.
I
when
said
we.
you could, but I I don't know if I said we should. I said, it's good not to lock ourselves in for 3 years. Every year we send a new engagement letter. So even if we have this fixed fee from them for 3 years, we can get out of that. But I think this is fine to do 1 year at a time. I don't want to make us go out for bid. What we're seeing in the audit world is that prices are going up and staffing is going down. And so it is very hard to get a qualified audit at this reasonable price. So
This is a very reasonable.
this is a very, very reasonable price.
At
So-
Lincolnwood, which.
So maybe I might have said something last year, but the world has changed a little bit in
Yeah.
accounting, and it's very difficult. And they are known for doing library districts, and
They've been
have a
very
great
thorough.
and
Yeah.
a great reputation.
And they did the accounting for Lincolnwood Library, and we hired Paul and Sarah, who's now with CTA Group or something, to do the audit. And our audit at Lincolnwood, which was a smaller budget, a smaller population, everything was less than Batavia, and it was $10,000.
Yeah. It's a very good price. You all know me, I don't like spending money. It's a very good price.
Would someone like to make a motion to approve?
I will make that motion.
And I'll second.
Okay, a motion by trustee Collada and a second by trustee Larson. Roll call.
And this is to approve hiring Lauderbeck and Inman for a 1 year.
Right.
Okay.
And we do need a roll call for, it's a money issue.
Yes.
Mary Ann?
Colada,
Aye.
Deechman,
Aye.
Ford, Hubbard, Larson,
Aye.
Russo,
Aye.
Fasano, aye.
And that's approved. Okay, number 10, approve emergency succession plan.
So, excuse me, as I presented at the COW meeting, I feel it's important that every year we look at an emergency succession plan in the event, as my go-to form of demise is being hit by a beer truck. And so, I mean, if I am incapacitated, not because I love beer or anything, I don't. But if I am unable to be director for even a short term or a long term, it's good to have a succession plan in place of who will step in and take over as the acting executive director. Now, if it was going to be longer than a month or so, then you might want to consider an interim director, which is different. You would hire someone with previous experience, like a retired director, who could work for, a longer period of time. But if you know that there is a start and end and it's less than a couple of months, then you could go with an acting director, which would be someone on staff. Traditionally, it's usually someone with an MLS who is from your adult or your youth, manages your adult or youth departments. But our two managers from those departments are really new, and I would not want to scare them and have them go running to the hills, looking for somewhere else to be. So what I was proposing is, it would be kind of a group effort, but it would be listing one person as the acting director, but leaning heavily on other managers to run the whole building. I had proposed Lisa because she's already an admin and she's our HR person, and she really knows a lot about the administrative aspects of running the library, which are big and very important. And then both Stephanie and Carrie, Stephanie's listed on here, but Stephanie and Carrie both have the collection expertise and anything that has to do with the collection or those departments, youth and adult, they could help with being an acting head of, in terms of a director's role. And then Kathy Moker, being the facilities person. So I really see them working as a team, and they would probably do that anyway, but I see them working as a team to keep things running. and representing all the big areas of the library. So the plan just outlines, it's kind of like your go-to document it has the contact information for community, different people in the Batavia community. It's also got the contact information for, some of our memberships, like with Swan and with Rails. It's got our auditor on here, our attorney, their contact information is on here. So this document is just kind of like your quick reference guide. It also has a list of all of the annual milestones and critical deadlines. This is on page 60, 61, and 62 of your packet. These are really important fiscal deadlines that we have to do with the state or the county, just other important things you don't want to miss. And this is not information, it's good to have it all in one place, especially for someone who's stepping in and doesn't really know what's going on. And then on page 63 is more contact information about our bank accounts, links to our mission statement, our bylaws, the board minutes, all of these things so that they can access information to help them.
I even love having all the policy numbers written out and things like that. That's good to have in one location.
And then we've got our insurance information, human resources, legal counsel, fiscal accountability, et cetera, et cetera. It's just the really basic nuts and bolts of administratively keeping the library going. And this is a document that you'll want to review every year, and you'll vote on it to approve it, and then you'll have the board president sign it, I will sign it, and then whoever we name as the acting executive director would sign it, and then you can have it witnessed by some of the other staff who are mentioned in the document. And we can tweak it however we want from year to year. But this is what I recommend.
Is there any sensitive or personal identifiable information in here that it should
No.
be redacted or
No.
something that?
No, nothing.
I get nervous
well,
when I see banking.
This is an internal document.
Okay.
It's not.
It's not
something-
going anywhere.
Oh, no. This is just for the, whoever is named in this document, whoever will be using it has access to this.
Okay.
And the other thing about Lisa is she has access to a lot of sensitive
Sure.
information as it is with the personnel and stuff, so. But no, this is not something we post anywhere. This is in-house document only.
Makes it easy for the person who steps into this role to immediately access key information.
Right.
Without having to search through 20 files and 6 pages of passwords or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And so to put this together, I had the manager's help. Joe was huge in helping me get all the insurance information together. And so it was a group effort to put it together. And this saves whoever is filling in to have to go and try to figure out who do I talk to about this.
Yep.
Chances are an internal person would already know who to talk to. But if you did hire an interim director, this would be extremely helpful. And you don't want it to be too complicated. It's fairly simple, but it's the nuts and bolts of what we
And thorough.
Yeah.
It
So
looks
we
really
can-
useful.
Yeah. And we can review it, a year from now. We can review it at the end of the year, starting, in 2024. So we could review it again in December and, update it after 12 months.
I like that idea of updating it, so, because dates change and then those will
Right.
be caught.
And also, I'm still thinking and trying to figure out how, I think it would be beneficial to have a deputy director again, but I don't want to combine it with a department. I think it pulls you too much away from, areas of focus. And with a remodeling plan coming down the pipe, our both of our managers in adult and youth, they've got a lot to do and process in the next couple of years. So I think a deputy director is somebody who it could be a separate position. And that's who you would, of course, name in a document like this as your acting director.
I think we should review it after Andrew starts driving a beer truck.
No immediate plans.
On page 57,
Yep.
could we delete the last sentence at the top of the page? May this process bring our organization peace of mind in our day-to-day work. And perhaps just put in, the goal is to provide uninterrupted service for the public and a smooth transition for employees.
Okay.
But otherwise, I think it's
Otherwise,
great.
it's the last will and testament.
Okay, the goal of this document is, you had very lovely wording there.
To provide uninterrupted service for the public and a smooth transition for employees.
Okay.
To be fair, yes, if something happened, peace of mind would not be everyone's first thought.
End of life directives.
Okay. Okay, what was a bit about this tab?
Smooth transition.
Thank you. It was very good. Okay, perfect. I will add that then to this document.
Would someone like to make a motion to approve the succession plan as amended?
I so move.
Motion by trustee Larson and a second.
I will second that.
Second by trustee Fasano. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye then.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the succession plan is approved. Number 11, financial reports for November and December.
So we have 2 months in here, and I just wanted to skip November and go to December. Just because, that's the most recent month that we just completed. So if you look on page 75 of your packet, we have received pretty much 100% of the tax revenue that we have we expected to receive. We had an anticipated tax shortfall of $22,000, but really our shortfall was only $17,000, so it was a little less than we anticipated. And then if you look, not quite halfway down, you'll see that the total operating revenue is just under 100%. So, the taxes are a vast majority of our revenue, but there's a few other areas where we still will see a little bit of revenue trickle in, but we're pretty much at 100% as of December. Now, if you keep going down, this is in the column under year-to-date budget. So for total books that we have purchased or spent money on from our budget, we're at just under 46%. So we're pretty much right where we want to be, 6 months or halfway through the fiscal year. And then for total audio visual, we're a little under, it's just a little under 40%. But last year, at this time, we were about the same, about 40%. Periodicals were very low, but a lot of times those are just a once a year payment, so I'm not worried about that. It's not a huge sum of money. Total electronic materials were at around 42%. Last year we were at 70% at this time, so we still have plenty of room to increase buying of our electronic books and database subscriptions. The subscriptions they're also just usually annual amounts, so it just depends on when that contract renews. So we'll see that continue to go up. Then on total materials, let's see, we're at about 40%, which is a little bit under half, about 10% under half, but we will continue to see that amount go up. But last year we were at 56% in December, so we're a little lower than we normally are. But we'll continue to see that number go up as it should. Then if you go to page 76, excuse me, under the personnel expenses, I just wanted to point out our personnel expenses are at about 45% of our overall budget. That's not including the benefits, et cetera. With benefits, it's about 53%, which is the library standards, the state of Illinois, they recommend don't go any higher than 70% of your operating budget towards personnel and all that, and the salaries and benefits. So we're well under that cap. And we have currently spent 43% of our budget on personnel expenses. So we're well under the 50%. And that tends to be, pretty normal because you have people who come, people who go. There's lots of reasons why that number is going to be lower, that we're not at 50%. That's a good thing. So then our operating expenses were also at about 35%. And we're at, for our total library fund expenses, we're around 41%. So that means 41% of what we budgeted for, we've spent, which is down a little bit from last year. At this time last year, we were at about 48%. So we have a little catching up to do, That's all good. And then that's about it. Our maintenance fund on page 77, we're already at 75%. That probably is because of the computers that we bought. That might be a big part of it, because we use the maintenance fund to pay for that. So, but we're still, we're not over, and we still have, anything that we were planning on using that money for, we've already done most of it, so I'm not worried about that. So that's just a little quick overview of the first 6 months of fiscal year.
Any questions on the financial reports? All right, thank you for that overview. Number 12, board comments and president's report. Any comments? Just one thing I'll mention. Tomorrow I'll forward to each of you the trustee forum newsletter. That's from the Illinois Library Association. And it really, this issue is not especially interesting, but it does.
What an intro.
But it does link to a lot of things, which are good board education things. So if you have a question, there are nice links in those, so I would explore those. And I'll send that tomorrow. Okay, directors and librarians reports.
Well, we've already covered a lot that's in my report, but I would like to make sure to make an official welcome to our new head of youth services and adult and teen services. We have Liesl Ulasik in youth services and Megan O'Keefe, adult and teen services. They were at the COW meeting, but this was their first official regular board meeting.
Yes.
We're really happy to have you here. They're just already a great part of the management team, and I've heard lots of great things from the staff. So, they just jumped right in, and we're off running. It's all good. So thank you guys for coming tonight and for joining our team. In fact, so for the manager reports, we're going to have, since Megan this is only her third week. So get up, I told her she did not have to prepare a 10-page report for this first meeting. No, so she won't be speaking to the board. But Liesl has prepared a brief report about December.
But the youth services manager, who's in their 4th week for the record. Good evening, everybody. I'm so very pleased to be here and be your new youth services manager. I don't have a lot to say this evening. Like I said, it being my 4th week, but I'm very excited about all the opportunities that I see here and really wonderful youth services team as well as overall staff. So very excited. As most of you know, I think Winter Reading Challenge has kicked off. It is Reading Wonderland. And that is going on both for grown-ups as well as kids, and that just kicked off this past Saturday. So excited about that. Down in youth services, we are getting a lot of participation because who doesn't love to spin a prize wheel just for the privilege of signing up? So that's our sneaky little trick of kind of getting some kids to sign up, and I think some of the adults that are accompanying them are a little jealous, so Megan might want to take some notes for the grown-ups next year. But all kidding aside, that goes through the end of February, so we're excited about that, and this is a very big reading community on learning, so that is exciting. Lots of fun readers advisory questions and whatnot that we're fielding, so that is terrific. And then just the other thing I wanted to share with you is that over our winter break, so the last couple of weeks while the kids were off school, we're finding that we're kind of returning to those pre-pandemic numbers for attendance. And I know that various departments, as well as Joe, have fielded some really nice comments from patrons just saying how excited they were that there were activities. We've had activities for the record every year over winter break, but apparently they were very well received this year. We had a lot of family stuff like bingo. We had story time with a screech owl, which was fantastic. So a lot of fun programs, and we're definitely finding that folks are looking for those, whether it's a no school day or those breaks. So we plan to keep offering those going forward. But that's pretty much all I've got to say, other than really glad to be here and looking forward to working with all of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Carrie Alder is going to talk about memory kits.
I know you like show and tell.
She brought a whole cart.
I'm not going to talk about all of them, but these are the new memory care kits. So these are for people suffering memory loss or dementia and with their caregivers and loved ones. It's something they do together is the plan. Laura James, the reference librarian, is the person who's in charge of putting these all together. And then thank you to Stephanie too for helping me with the processing. How do we make this work to get them out the door? We have 5 to start with. So we have farming, we have garden joy, more flowers than vegetables. I'm sorry, Mary Ann. Those were the days, which are like 60s, 70s movies kind of thing. Kitty cuddles and puppy love. And I'll be showing you puppy love in just a minute. These will probably be available in a few weeks. Most likely they will be out close to the reference desk, like kind of where the book discussion kits are in that area. But we're anticipating a lot of times they're going to be going out with Misty to the Memory Cafe program, to the new program she's doing in the afternoons, to the different retirement communities. So they may be on the shelf or they may be traveling. They're shadowed in the catalog right now, but you'll be able to find them if you just search Batavia Memory Care, because we also have books in the dementia area, like adult picture book kind of things. So we have books as well as these kits. Most of them have picture books. And let me show you what I don't mean a picture book like a kid's picture book. It's something like this, like an adult picture book, just to start a conversation is kind of the purpose of it. We have jigsaw puzzles, painting, where they just use water with a paintbrush and it paints it, and then you can wipe it off and do it again. So there's no like paint. It's just easy to clean up water kind of thing. DVDs, CDs, that kind of stuff. So let me show you, this is puppy love. And so we'll have like a contents list, and we're gonna have a picture because these will be kind of locked. So a patron can come and see what's actually in the kit without having to open it. So this one's got a jigsaw puzzle. It's got like a little memory care game. It's got Lassie, collection of 4 Lassie movies. And again, these picture books, and there's always one book for the caregiver. So to share, but this is what you're, I'll show you this too. There's a lacing thing with laces and things. But this is what you might be most interested in. This comes with a little puppy. And it comes with a brush and a bed. And you could actually put a battery in it so it feels like maybe it's breathing. It's kind of, I put the battery in, I took the battery out. But they are very soft. My grandmother had dementia, and she carried a baby doll with her for a year, or two. And so just having that tactile, something to hold, something to brush, something to, is kind of a calming thing. So I think this puppy is very cute. We also have a cat with the same thing, with the bed, the brush. You can.
And it purrs. Does I don't know, does it purr? Does it purr?
The cat.
I didn't put it, I put, I don't know what dog, I mean, I don't have a dog, but it sounded like, you know, so. But I'll let you know about the meowing thing, if they're purring or not. But these are very cute, and I think they're going to be popular, honestly. So I will have these up here if anybody would like to come pet the puppy. After you're done, or look at any of the others, let me know.
I'm glad we think about the caregiver too with these kids. I think that's very helpful.
Right, it's because it is meant to be interactive. For example, one of them's called Those Were the Days, and they've got props for like selfies, you know, little things on sticks, and she's just really, Laura's been very thoughtful about what to include to reach lots of different people at different levels. So she did a great job, but I
Awesome.
think they're fun. These are fun.
Pass along our thanks.
Yeah. But yeah, just a plug for tech though. It's processing is very involved with these, so they won't be out yet. But give me a week or two, and we'll get there. So, all right, thank you.
That's such an important area, and the stereotype is that librarians don't want to deal with all of these pieces, but you sure do it with enthusiasm, which is great.
Well, and we did try to get things without too many pieces. I've trained them after all these years.
And then Stephanie is going to talk about the new, what was it called? The Blue
It was the Swan Libraries app. It was Blue Cloud Mobile app.
Cloud Mobile is now defunct.
Yes.
And she's going to show you the new app. That they actually
I remember it
found
wasn't, we were having
fairly
trouble with it
quickly.
recently, so they finally, it
Yes, there is a new app.
went the way of the dodo, huh?
Yeah.
Another app.
Too bad I can download something different.
We're gonna move over here.
Sorry, bear with me. I know the setup is a little funky with me sitting this way here.
Oh, that's good. I was thinking it was gonna go on that wall.
I noticed the screen.
Which this projector, by the way, is in the library of things.
If anybody wants a projector.
Yes, if anyone ever needs a projector for any purposes, we have one. So Swan Libraries app, Joe introduced it pretty well. It was pretty unexpected that in November, the previous app was no longer supported. Swan did a wonderful job of finding a new app promptly and getting it all up and running. It was running by December 26th, I think. So just around a month of trying to find a new app. The new app is in the App Store. It's Swan Libraries Plus. So the icon on the left is the one you're going to be looking for, and if you have that old one on the right, that teal background, you can delete that app off of your phone because it will not function properly. One of the nice things about the new app is that it is hosted by Aspen, which is the catalog that we use on our website. So some of the functions will transfer over if you've enabled checkout history on your account, or if you've linked accounts with family members. That will transfer over from the Aspen website onto the Aspen app on your phone. Okay, so I prepared a couple of little videos just because I couldn't get a live demo working. So bear with me if my timing is a little off. So signing in, you'll want to tap on the app icon and then select your library. And then you can either type in your library barcode number, or in the search bar over to the right there's a barcode icon, which you can use to scan your library card.
Super fancy.
Yes, it is. And then you enter in your PIN and signs you into your account. Okay, so the app is broken down into 3 main functions. It's really hard to see at the bottom, but there's Discover, Card, and Account. Discover is kind of what you use to search for items. So searching the catalog, you can, at the top in the search bar, just type in what you're searching for. So The Hobbit, and it will pull up search results that kind of match what that is. Once you figure out what it is that you want, you can tap on that one, and it shows you different formats that you can select. So you can select book, audiobook, CD, e-download. So you can, it's all in one place under one record, so you don't have to scroll through and figure out which one it is that you want. You have all the different format options right there. It'll also indicate whether the item is on shelf or if it's available at a different library, and you can place a hold if that's something you're interested in doing. And also, kind of like the barcode, you can, in the upper right-hand corner, instead of searching for or typing your search term, say you're at the store and you see a book that you want and you want to see if the library has it, you can tap that barcode and use your camera to scan the ISBN code on the back of the book, and it'll automatically search the catalog and let you know if the library has it or not.
Super fancy.
That is one of my favorite features. Also on the Discover section of the app, we have browse categories. It shows, adult and fiction, adult and nonfiction. You can kind of scroll through each one and see what's there and tap on one and it'll search the catalog. You can go to the bottom also and manage your browse categories, so you can check and uncheck the different things that you want to see coming up on your home page. So you're not always stuck with the adult nonfiction as the default. If you really like kids fiction, you can just go straight to that one instead. And just like with our old app, you can use it to scan your library card. If you forget your card at home, you can just pull out your phone and use your app as your library card here at the library. So if you tap at the bottom on card, it'll show you whichever barcode or whichever account you have. So if you have linked accounts, you can select which one you want and then just tap on that name and it'll pull up the barcode. Under account, there are lots of things that you can do. You can look at your checkouts, your holds. If you have lists that you've created in Aspen, those will also transfer over onto the Aspen or the Swan Libraries Plus app. And same with checkout history, that'll transfer over as well. So it's kind of like a side menu, and you select what you want. And you can see the checkouts. That's for multiple accounts. You can see your holds and your pending holds. And you can see your checkout history, and you can enable that or disable that as well. For linked accounts, under the Accounts tab, you can select linked accounts towards the bottom. And then you can add an account. Yeah, I know it's kind of hard to see. You can add an account by entering the library card number and the PIN for that account. It does require the PIN, so it is secure. You can't just pick up a library card off the ground and add it to your account. But it also is secure in the way that it tells you at the bottom other accounts that can be this account. So you can check on your own account to make sure, you know, your kid didn't steal your library card to get extra books because they have too many on that card. And I think that is about it. Does anybody have any questions about the new app or?
Have you gotten any comments from patrons about it at all?
So circulation is really good about pushing the app, so when it was gone, they were very sad that it was gone, so very happy that it's back, or the new one is back. I think that we have quite a few users, and I'd say probably about a third of the people checking out are using the app to scan their library card. So I think that's the number one feature that it has is people like to not have to carry their card with them. They just manage it all from their phone in one place. So
Do you like it better than the old app?
I like that it works. I do like it better in the sense that it is kind of streamlined with the online catalog. There's still some features that are missing that are in development right now. Fund payment is the biggest one, but Swan is working on that. They're working with Aspen to develop that. Another thing that Swan is working on developing with Aspen is enabling notifications. So right now, you get your notifications if you have hold available. Depending on what your preferences are, you could either receive email or text message or a phone call. But what they're working on developing with this new app is the possibility of having the app alert you instantly instead of having to wait for those notices to come through at the designated time. So that's something that I'm looking forward to see if that's going to happen in the future. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Jenny's going at it.
Oh my God. I got 2 plans. One's on the shelf.
The only other thing I wanted to just, we have a lot of stats in here. And I wanted to just, like on page 9, is this 9? No, page 7 of your packet. No, it's not 7, it's 9. Page 9, because they had two repeated pages by accident. So on page 9, you'll see, so we have, of our print materials, our fiction to date, we've, circulation stats show it over 97,000 print fiction books were circulated. And it's twice as many as our nonfiction. And then another, let's see, magazines are not very significant, which is to be expected. A lot of people read them in-house. And then, let's see, there's another stat. So our total circulation for the month of December was 40, how's that right?
37.
That's year to date, but for December, it was 47,719 on page 10. And that includes print and non-print materials. But that's just for December. So year to date, you go a little further over to the right, it's 276,524. So for the first 6 months of 2024. And then you can see, if you look down, how that compares to previous years. So the reason I bring this up is, well, the total circulation, is 37,628 for the month of December. And if you look, there was a big decrease, because of the pandemic. from 2019, 2020, 41,747 to the following year, only 26,000. So we're not slowly, we are creeping back up to our pre-pandemic numbers. And we're almost where we were before COVID. And then another thing is on page 12 of your packet. And if I understand this correctly, Stephanie, it's the Rails Library System, the RVP tally sheet.
Yes.
If I understand this correctly, we sent out in the month of December 3,817 items to other libraries in the consortium? Or am I not reading that right?
No, so this is actually reciprocal borrowers that come here.
Oh,
So,
okay. So those are folks from other with library cards from other communities that come to us and are in-house checking materials out. But that's a pretty significant number, I think. And the biggest group is Geneva. Geneva, we get a lot of Geneva residents that come to our library for a multitude of reasons we will not go into. But I just thought that was really interesting. And then more stats, reciprocal borrowing. Again, it shows Geneva as our biggest borrower, followed by Aurora. But those are just some of those are the top libraries that use us a lot. Now our program attendance, you can see like about halfway down the page on 13, for the month of December, virtual attendance in adult programs was over 8,000. And I believe that's when we partner with other libraries to do a virtual program like an author visit or whatever, so that increases the overall attendance quite a bit. But we also are doing our in-person, 186 in-person adult, and then we had in-person youth. In-person youth was over 1,000 just in the month of December. That's pretty impressive. And they don't really do any virtual in children's. It just doesn't really work for that audience. So anyway, I just, sometimes you have to really go through these stats with a fine-tooth comb to make any sense of them, but it can be very telling. And then, and currently we have our holdings for fiscal year 24 so far. We have 161,712 print materials, books actually, in our collection. We have 40,370 audio-visual materials with a total of 202,082 print and digital pieces in our collection. Correct. And then we have some charts that, what I like about these charts, starting on page 16, is that, these are things that we, Molly has put together through our OpenGov software. I don't even know if it's software, it's an online thing. But anyway, it's it's for transparency for government agencies like us. So you can see, like here's patron count past 13 months on page 16. And so it shows from December 2022 all the way to December 2023. So what I'm looking at is, each month can be very different, but we're 2,000 more roughly in patron count than we were a year ago in the month of December. It went from 9,597 in 2022 to 11,323 in 2023. So it shows you those, and changes for the month a year apart. Also, going to program attendance, you'll see the total number in December of 2022 was 2,858. And in December of 2023, it was 9,677. Now, a big chunk of that was this virtual programming in adult, but still, it's a huge increase. I just wanted to draw there's some more we could go over, but that's what I like about these graphs is the visuals, and it shows you a whole full year, and you can really compare where we were a year ago to where we are today, and see increases or decreases depending. So it's an effective tool. And we're going to experiment more with OpenGov. And eventually I'd like to have some of these charts, not the graphs, on our website. And we'll have a whole transparency section so that we can highlight, all the things that we want to share with the public to show how the growth in the library and changes, et cetera, et cetera. And it's a really nice tool, but we're still figuring out how to use it. Sure.
Well, I think
To show
even
basic.
like this chart on circulation rates, other non-print, like people would be like, oh, we have, musical instruments, we have cake pans, that if they see it on the chart, they may not know that that's stuff we have in our collection.
On page 18,
Mhm.
yeah. So that's interesting, because you look at that, those are our library of things, basically. Well, not all, but some of this is library of things, but the DVDs, 4,318. It's really small print, but compact disc, 747. Our cake pans, they're on here. Where did I see those? I
At
think
the
it was.
bottom.
Yeah, it's at the bottom. So we circulated 9 cake pans in the month of December. But it just breaks it all down. So anyway, it's just interesting. I love data personally, like stats, but we're going to form a statistics committee of staff members because I want to go through how we communicate our stats. I think we need to continue recording our stats the way we are, which is very detailed, but how do we take all of that information and make it meaningful to you and to the staff and to the public? So we're going to come up with how we want to keep that, how we want to retrieve those stats, how we want to record them, and then how we want to share them. And so we're going to create a statistics committee, and we're also going to create a collection management committee because we want to talk about lots of things that have to do with the library's collection, the space that we use for the collection itself, displays, all sorts of things that are involved with our library collection, whether it's print or digital or whatever. And this committee will be made up of managers and library staff, other staff, so that it's not just management team. So we're going to start meeting hopefully in February. And, I'm excited. And now we have a new policy. And I think that's pretty much all. Oh, one other thing. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I have this in here. I met with, so today I had a meeting at the Depot Museum. They are going to do an oral history project and want to partner with us. And then some other gentleman who I think is a retired teacher. I don't remember what his story was, but because he wasn't able to be there. So it's early stages, but we're working on creating an oral history project where we're going to get high school students to help interview people of different generations. We're kind of looking for people who were living here in Batavia in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, because I think that is an area at the museum where they don't have a lot of resources or information. So that's the area, that's kind of the decades that they're targeting for this. But so we're in early stages, but somehow we will develop a partnership with them on this oral history. We may be just providing space for the interviews, but then what do we do with that information and those oral histories once they're done? So it's just
Always the problem.
they're
We gotta get them down.
Yeah, then first we just gotta get them, and then we're gonna decide what the heck to do with them. They have a lot of oral history interviews that are on cassette tape, and they need to figure out, they gotta do something with that before those cassette tapes disintegrate. But Kate's a great person to work with, and she's got lots of great ideas, and it's all about collaboration. And so we just had a hoot of a time thinking about all the different things we could do, joining forces, etc. And then tomorrow I have the Chamber of Commerce my first board meeting at 8 in the morning.
How late for
50
them?
is that?
You could stay overnight.
Believe me, I thought about it. So that's that.
Well, there's a lot happening, and getting those numbers out to people to show how much the library is being used is certainly a good thing. So, thank you. Number 14 on the agenda, upcoming meetings. The Committee of the Whole meets February 8th at 6:30, and our regular meeting is February 20th at 6:30. And number 15 is adjournment, so I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second, motion by trustee Russo and second by trustee Larson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And we're adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.